was having a conversation the other day. How long ago was this? Not that long ago. And we were talking about some pretty principal differences between the Netherlands and Australia and the systems, and despite what's going on at the moment, how much me and my partner actually do want to get back to the Netherlands. And I kind of found myself having to justify this. And when it comes down to it, the systems and the way the country is set up is so much better than how so many other countries do that. So I wanted to make a video explaining basically all of the things that I think the Netherlands do better than most other countries. And so most of these topics could easily have a video just on that topic. So if anyone wants that, let me know in the comments below. This video is more of an overview of some of the main things that I think the Netherlands kind of nails, and you guys can decide for yourself if the Netherlands really is the best country. So, you know what I read on Wikipedia the other day when I was researching this video is that the Netherlands ranked #1 in a study comparing healthcare systems between America, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and Germany. Is this crazy? I knew that I liked the healthcare system in the Netherlands, but I had no idea that it had ranked so highly amongst what most people consider to be Western functional healthcare systems, except for America. I don't know what's going on with their healthcare system. Now, this study was actually done in 2010, so quite a while ago, but still, the system is good and it works. And I know there are going to be expats that come at me in the comments being like, my doctor only gives me Panadol. I can only speak from experience. I got really sick during my pregnancy while I was in the Netherlands, and I was so well looked after, and the system was amazing, and I had no issues getting the help when I needed it. So for me, I feel like the Dutch healthcare system is almost faultless. So a little bit more into how it actually works. There are basically two categories. So you've got this collective pool of funds that basically come from everyone paying their contribution. So everyone in the Netherlands is required to pay for health insurance. And then that covers people going to the doctor, people needing to go to hospital, and things like that. The second pool of funds basically comes from the government. So the government pay for things like long-term care and people that need ongoing treatment, terminal illnesses, and care that's required with disabilities. So all of that is then pulled into another fund. So you've got these two groups. Now, when I tell people that the health insurance in the Netherlands is compulsory, a lot of people are concerned, like, what happens if you can't pay it? What happens if you're on a budget or you've lost your job, or, you know, all of these things when you can't pay a compulsory bill. So the Netherlands basically gives you a subsidy. So if you're a student, if you earn under a certain amount, or if you can't pay for your health insurance, they will give you the funds to pay for your health insurance. So as a child in the Netherlands, you actually stay on your parents' plan and your parents' health insurance for a lot longer than you would here in Australia. So I think that the way that this is set up is fantastic, and the more socialistic idea of healthcare is obviously benefiting everyone. Now, this next system that I want to talk about is Kraamzorg. I always have a really hard time translating this word into English. It's like an after birth nurse. I think that's how I would say it. There's basically this person that comes to your house for anywhere between a week, I think, to about 10 days. And they help you. They help you be a first-time parent. They can help you with breastfeeding advice. They can help you with checking the temperature and the weight gain of your baby. They also check on you as a mum and how your recovery and healing is going. And the fact that you don't have to cart yourself down to a clinic when you're a new parent and getting out of the house in that first week or so is really difficult. This is like a godsend. And if there are any Dutch parents or expats or people that have had babies in the Netherlands, you will know when you've really got a good Kraamzorg nurse. I believe they have this system in Germany as well. But we do not have this in Australia. And when I was telling my friends about it, their minds were blown. This is crazy. This is so amazing, and it helped so much. So if you are from another country and you also have a system like this, I'd love to know. So let me know in the comments below, because as far as I know, I think it's only a thing that's done perhaps also in Scandinavia, but the Netherlands and Germany definitely. But Kraamzorg is the best. When I was telling my friends, obviously, how affordable it was too, the fact that the majority of that cost is covered by basic cover health insurance, and that I think as a parent or like as a contributor, you pay like €4 or something an hour for how much time you've requested. So just that it's so accessible to basically everyone is not only amazing that they offer this as a service, but the fact that it's covered by the Dutch government and they encourage a lot of people to take up their offer and make it affordable and achievable for all income levels to be able to have access to that. This is so amazing. So as of July 1st, 2020, the paternity leave for fathers in the Netherlands has just increased to 6 weeks. This is such an amazing step forward. Paternity leave has shown in multiple studies globally that it increases GDP, it increases women in the workforce, and it also decreases the gender pay gap. So the fact that the Netherlands is taking initiative and increasing the paternity leave to 6 weeks is such an amazing thing. I believe here in Australia, a father is entitled to 2 weeks, which was also the old system. So the Netherlands also had a 2-week policy. But the fact that it's increased to 6 weeks just in the last year has been such an amazing step forward by the Dutch government. It'll be interesting to see how many fathers actually take up this offer. It's obviously not compulsory. They don't have a use it or lose it policy like Japan or Norway. So it will be interesting to see how this plays out over the coming years. But needless to say, this is an awesome, awesome system. And I think it's something that the Netherlands is really starting to do right. The Netherlands is the second largest exporter of fruits and vegetables. When I read this completely shocked me. I had no idea that a country so small as the Netherlands was one of the biggest leading agricultural exporters globally. Like, this is crazy. The way that the Netherlands has developed the technology to farm the way that they have is so interesting. The use of greenhouses and closed loop watering systems and vertical gardens. It's just, when you look into it, it's such an amazing feat. They're able to use less pesticides, and they're able to grow a variety of fruit that wouldn't normally grow in the Netherlands either. So things like capsicum, which is paprika, chilies and tomatoes, and things that are normally grown in warmer climates. So the Netherlands has basically given themselves full control over the climate and the environment through the technology that they've developed, and they can essentially grow anything. I think being a small country has almost forced them to be a little bit more efficient with the way they use space. So it's definitely been an added benefit to the development of agriculture and farming in the Netherlands. This is another thing that they do really, really well. And it obviously helps the Dutch economy as well. So with the Paris Agreement, I feel like talking about this at the moment as an Australian is kind of embarrassing, just because of our backwards thinking and our ability to pretend that there's nothing wrong. And we have a government that's not really voicing the concerns of the public here. That is a discussion for another day. However, I was looking into what the Netherlands has proposed and what the Netherlands are doing and their roles and initiatives that they're setting up to reach the goals that they set for the country when they signed up for the Paris Agreement. And I have left a link below if you want to read the whole report, because it's a massive thing, but you can find in the report exactly how much they're planning to spend and how much they're contributing in terms of the whole EU and things like that as well. But essentially they're drawing right back on coal mining and basically putting plants at a minimum run and investing more in wind power, offshore wind power facilities. The Netherlands is essentially aiming for a 95% reduction by 2050. So it'll be interesting to see how the plans that they're proposing now will actually allow them to reach those goals, because it's a pretty massive goal, really. The government is providing a $3 billion subsidy program to sort of invest in renewable energy, including home refits and new plants being set up and policy tweaks on livestock numbers. So they're kind of tackling it from all angles. So when I was reading the report, I was super impressed by the way the Netherlands is kind of following up with their actions and not just talking the talk, but kind of bringing to the table what they're actually going to do to reach the goals that they set for the Paris Agreement. So this is one of those things that I think the Netherlands is doing quite well. The next thing that might make the Netherlands maybe one of the best countries in the world is their recycling and statiegeld. I don't really know how we translate that into English because we don't have it here in Australia, but statiegeld is essentially when you pay for a bottle or a glass bottle, like a plastic bottle or a glass bottle, you can actually take it back to your supermarket and get that money back. So you have an incentive as a customer to return that bottle. Even without the statiegeld, the Netherlands, I think, is like number 3 for the percentage of waste that we actually recycle. And I think just living there and seeing how the system works, I haven't found myself recycling far more than I do in Australia. Everything's really clear. Everything has a place and it's always really accessible. They're not, few and far between. There was recycling points that were always near our house. And I'm just speaking from my experience in Amsterdam, but being able to bring batteries and light globes and things back to the supermarket, and then having the 3 separate bins for cardboard and then one for glass. And it just makes the whole system idiot-proof, if that makes any sense. We have a version of statiegeld in Australia that isn't really that functional. Certain states can act as hubs for places that you can actually take your cans and things back to, but WA is a massive one and that's a 5-day drive away. So there's no way that I would actually save all of my cans and glasses and then drive them across another 2 states to get to Western Australia, spending 5 days worth of petrol and time to get like $3 back. So I think that the system that we have in Australia is completely flawed. We do have recycling facilities, but they're not as accessible as I think they are in the Netherlands, and there's not many incentives for people to want to do it. In Europe as a whole, people in the Netherlands produce more rubbish per head than the rest of Europe, but they're also recycling more than the rest of Europe. So to be sitting at number 3 means that the program is obviously working enough for people to be able to access it and use it, and it's functional and practical. So I think the recycling system and the statiegeld system that is in the Netherlands is amazing and something that other countries should definitely be looking at too. Now that was a very quick overview of some of the main systems that I find are super, super well done here in the Netherlands. There's a whole range of topics: the political system, the voting system, the refugee policy, other things in the Netherlands that I'd love to talk about. If I missed anything, like always, leave a comment below. I love to read through them, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.